Hi everyone, thank you for joining me this webinar today about 3D printing in class. My name is Itamar Yona, I'm 3D printing expert and co-founder and CEO of PrintSYSt. I'm also an electrical engineer and provide knowledge and know-how about 3D printing for the commercial and educational sector. We're collaborating with universities, high schools, middle schools, and also with startup companies and enterprises as well. If you need any further information or assistance about 3D printing, you can reach me on my email address, itamar@printsys.com. PrintSYSt developed a unique technology which provides access to 3D printing for everybody. We automate all the pre-printing processes using one button. Actually, 3D printing, pre-printing processes are very complex and long, and this is why we developed our solution, and I will provide more information about it and also show some showcases about it in the next slides. So, 3D printing, make something from nothing. In the last few years, we heard a lot about 3D printing. This is because of the RepRap community and of course because of the media. Probably everybody of you, many of you heard about printing a gun or printing jewelries and maybe to print some medical devices and so on. And this is all because the prices decrease of the desktop and personal printers. Nowadays, desktop printers cost between $100 to a few $1,000, and it's very good. That means that the printer itself, it's not a limit anymore, and the production side is something that can be achievable. I think that nowadays the ability to use the technology, the ability to print, it's a little bit more complicated than the printer itself, the price itself, because the pre-printing processes are a little bit, not little bit, actually it's very hard and complex to print, and we will talk about this today. So back to the 3D printing. In order to print something, you have to have access to CAD file, to computer-aided design. And if we will compare it to 2D desktop printers, that means that we need access to document, maybe some Word document or other PowerPoint document, for example. We need to print something that is digital. That means that we need, in terms of 3D printing, a CAD file, and we can create this CAD file in various of platforms. For example, we can download a file from the internet. We can design it by ourselves using Tinkercad, for example, and we talk about it later on. And we can also scan a file. And this is something very important to mention, because in the next few years, we will going to see many smartphones that already have scanners built on board those scanners that onboard those smartphones, and that means that everybody will be able to scan something. That means that everybody will have the ability to transfer some physical devices or physical things and transfer it to the digital world, and it will help us to customize or to create or manipulate those physical things in the digital world and bring it back to the physical world using 3D printer. So let's continue. For example, if we don't have the ability to design something by ourselves or to scan it by ourselves, we can download it here. I put in here a few examples for online libraries like Thingiverse, for example. I hope that you can see my screen. Nod your hand if you can see my screen. So you can see in this website that you can search for ready-to-print files, CAD files. There are many, and in terms of school, in terms of education, there are a lot of projects that are ready to print, and it's good because that means that we just need an access to the printer and to have the know-how about the pros and cons of 3D printing technologies. So I encourage you to test this website. There are some more examples like UImagen and Cast, and I encourage you to test them also by yourself. So the other option that we have is to design a CAD file by ourselves, and I definitely will advise on Tinkercad. It's a web-based platform that it's a part of Autodesk. It's a very good software dedicated for the educational sector, I think, and also to students. You don't need, because of the fact that it's web-based, you don't need to install anything. You just need to go to the browser and log into your Tinkercad account. I will show you how to do so. The nice thing, and the most important thing in Tinkercad, that you don't need to create the model from nothing. You can use the primitives like rectangle, circle, and so on. And from those geometries, you can manipulate them, and you can create new things. You don't have to worry about saving those models because it's cloud-based and it's automatically saved. And all the platform is working on the method of drag and drop. I will show you how it's working. For 1 sec. Can you see my screen? Please nod your hand if you can see my screen. Thank you. So here you can see the Tinkercad platform. I can easily create a new design, just creating a new design. So you can see that I can choose very easily using drag and drop those primitives. For example, if I want to create a all or something like that, maybe I want to make a mold of this object. I just need to choose it as an whole, make it as a group. You can see that I have all in shape of the selected shape. So back to our presentation. Please nod your hand if you can see my presentation, please. Thank you. So like I said, I encourage you to test this platform. It's very easy to use. Kids love it, and it's very easy to create models online. You can sign up to the Tinkercad just using this button, sign up. You just need to provide a little bit information about you, and that's it. And you're ready to go. So back to the 3D printing processes. As I mentioned, you have first you need a CAD file, and we talked about it in the last slides about how can we get those CAD files. You can use scanner to scan. You can download the STL file. This is the STL is the format of the CAD file, one of the formats. You can download the CAD file from Thingiverse maybe, or other online libraries, and you can also design it by yourself using online or offline CAD softwares like Tinkercad, Onshape, SketchUp, and so on. And once you have the CAD file, you need to transfer it to machine a code machine, to machine code, to let the printer to print it. It's a process that sounds very easy, because nowadays when we're talking about 2D printing, we just hit the button and that's it. But behind the scenes, there are a few steps. So first of all, we need to slice the model into layers. And that means that we need to divide our model into a stack of 2D layers that eventually we're going to print one upon each other until the model will be complete. So once we are choosing the best parameters and the best orientation and also the best density and so on for the model, we can slice it using Slicer, a specific software, and translate it into machine code. In terms of 3D printing, it will code a G code. And I think that the majority of the users using Cura, and maybe some of them using Simplify 3D, and other companies using customized slicer for their own printers. There are several solutions for that. I actually really like Cura, but you will see that in the next slides, this is something that PrintSYSt was solved, because using our technology, you don't need to use all those processes, although I suggest to be familiar with those steps. So once we're choosing the best parameters and slice the model, we convert it into G-code, and then we're ready to go and print. So as you probably already understood, 3D printing technologies are diverse. The process itself is long and complex and requires knowledge and know-how. And because majority of the users don't have it, it's caused low productivity, high frustration, and eventually low adoption rates. And I mentioned Cura and Simplify and other slicers, and I want to share with you, those are some of the screens when the user meets when he or she tries to print. And as you can see, there are a lot of parameters like layer height, shell thickness, wall thickness, fan speed, extruder, and other terms that are very important. But if we'll look at it as in the point of view of the students, the point of view of the teacher, those parameters are important, but are not important for the model itself. It's important for the production, but when you want to print something, you just want to print something and hit the button, and this is what PrintSYSt is doing. And instead of manipulating a huge amount of 3D printing parameters and features, we in PrintSYSt developed a one-button 3D printing software solution. And if you compare it to the 2D printing industry, it's called the Control P. So today we're going to discover three important things: how to shortcut your printing processes, how to improve your printed models, and increase students' adoption rates. All those can be achievable using PrintSYSt technology, because PrintSYSt was born to bridge the gap between the users and the complexity of 3D printing technologies. So I'm going to show you a live demo of our technology. It's online. You can access this beta version at PrintSYSt.com. You just need to log in the platform. It's free login for the webinar attendees. So I will use my existing account. You can notice that we have only one button here. I will just upload the file. You can see, first of all, that we have a preview of the file. And the orientation and the way that the printer is going to print the model is not very good in terms of the technology, in terms of the pros and cons of the technology, because you can see that if we're going to choose this orientation, this printing orientation, we're probably going to use many printing hours and materials for the support of this model, and it's not necessarily the best way to do so. So PrintSYSt know how to choose the best orientation using AI techniques that we developed, and because of the fact that we have many geometries that already printed, we know to choose the best orientation, the best printing parameters, and also to generate the best G-code in order to print your file. So you know, I consider myself as an expert, and I didn't choose this orientation and choose it to be on this surface, but because PrintSYSt has accumulated a huge amount of data, we know that this positioning, this orientation is the best one. So right now you can see that we can download the repaired file, because our technology also know how to optimize and repair the mesh file, and we can choose to download the repaired file and continue to manipulate it in the design file, in the design software like Tinkercad, Autodesk, SolidWorks, and so on. Or we can do, I think the most important here, the most important here is that we can download the sliced code that can be sent directly to the printer. So instead of using the steps that I mentioned in the last slides, like choosing your printing parameters, orient the model as it's needed, using Cura, like I mentioned, or maybe NetFab, and at least 2 or 3 softwares that I mentioned here. We automate all the pre-printing processes with the hit of a button. Just upload the file and download the sliced code. You can copy that file into your SD card or send it directly to the printer, and that way your model will be much more accurate, much more meet your requirements in terms of functionality, and it's very good things to do, and I encourage you to do so. You can see that our platform is based on a chatbot, and you can troubleshoot your printer and your model accordingly. For example, you can see that you can troubleshoot if you have any problems with the printer, for example, some clogging, or maybe you have problems with warping issues with the model itself. Our chatbot agent will guide you to solve those issues. So back to our presentation. You can sign up for free to our platform and use it whatever you like. If you see that your printer is not in our list, so just send me an email and we will update it accordingly. We update the list every day, so just keep up and stay tuned for more information about that. Thank you very much for joining me this webinar. I hope the information helped you to understand a little bit more about 3D printing and learn a lot about how can you shorten the pre-printing processes using PrintSYSt technology. If you want to implement our beta version in your service provider website, or maybe to your university Fab Lab, just send me an email and I will be glad to do so. Thank you very much for the time. Bye-bye.